Hey, what's up, everybody? Joe Simpson here. It's Tuesday, the 26th of March, and 2 days from now, I'm going to be flying to Georgia, going on my fishing trip, and I'm pretty psyched, I have to be honest. But here's the deal. I feel like I'm forgetting something, so I thought maybe I'd just throw out this really poorly made, quickly thrown together video and ask you guys just straight up, what do you think I'm missing? So let me go through what I'm taking, why I'm taking it, and I'll try to keep it as brief and summarized as possible. Okay, rods and reels. This was a tough one. I could only take a couple. We're going to be kayak fishing, so really I'm going to only have 2 rods in the boat at a time. So I knew that I was going to take a bait caster and a spinner, but I didn't know which combination and how to do it. So the spinner was pretty easy. I went with my KastKing walleye rod, and I have a Lew's 3000 series reel. Pretty solid setup, and I've got 8-pound fluorocarbon on there, so I've got the finesse rigs and everything covered with that setup. Going to Georgia this year is going to be different than when I went to Georgia the last time. This year I'm going more prepared. The last time I took literally a few whopper ploppers, I took some Keitech swim baits, and I took some Rage Craws, and I did really well with those. And I had some plastic, like Texas rig stuff, but I felt like that setup and what I had was very, very limited. And I didn't really know what I know today. I mean, 3 years ago, I knew a lot less than I know today, especially from asking all you guys for advice and help and everything. You know that I buy a lot of gear and I have a lot of tackle. So I packed up a UPS box and sent it down to my brother-in-law. And we'll talk about my tackle in a minute. But I wanted to talk about the rods and reels. First of all, I'm going to Georgia. It's March. It's still cooler down there. It's 55 nighttime, 70s in the daytime. I don't think it's going to be a wild topwater bite. I do think they will hit topwater, so it might be something that sits a little longer like a frog or a popper, but I'm not sure. Last time I went, it was about 2 weeks earlier in the year, and we used whopper ploppers to some limited success, not a whole lot of success there. But we did real well with like swim baits and moving lures just below the surface 2-3 feet. But I didn't have any crank square bills, chatterbaits. I didn't have any of that stuff. So this year, what I want to do is I want to take a little of everything and try it. I don't want to take any one thing and just dive into that. So I wanted to kind of spread it over. So this year, what I decided to do is I have 2 bait casting setups. I have the DC 150 and I have the KastKing Royal Legend Elite. And I have the KastKing Speed Demon Pro rod, but I didn't bring the frog rod. I brought just the straight up medium rod, which is good up to about 3/4 ounce. And it's got a pretty decent amount of backbone, but it's not going to be like an awesome frog rod. And then I have the Veritas, which is a 6-foot, little bit noodly, but it's an excellent treble hook, square bill, jerk bait, that type of rod. And I can do some light plastics with that too. So I put the DC with 12-pound fluoro on the Veritas. That's going to be my, finesse bait cast setup, or my square bill and, swimming bait treble hook setup. And then I have the Royal Legend Elite, which, both of these reels is 7 some odd to 1 gear ratio, so they're plenty fast enough. And I've got a 7-foot rod, KastKing with the Royal Legend Elite, and I've got 30-pound braid on that one. So that's going to be my heavier, jigs and some of my heavier plastics, and then also frogs and some topwater stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at on rods and reels. I don't really have a choice to change that because it's kind of locked in. Now I did in my box of tackle send down some 12-pound braid in case I wanted to change that up on my spinner. And I put some more 30-pound braid in case I wanted to switch over on the DC 150 to braid. As far as terminal tackle, I have jig heads, swim bait heads, hooks, true turns, wide gap, weighted swim bait hooks, bullet weights. I have kind of the gamut covered. I have the Ned rig set up and all that stuff in there. As far as plastics go, I don't really go crazy. I just have a couple bags of like different kind of creature baits. I have some salad spoons or some Big O's that I've featured before in some videos. Those are like the larger headed baits. I've got some straight up just plastic worms, auger tail, flat tail, flesh colored, blue, red, pumpkin. I've kind of covered the colors there. So I think I'm good there on plastics. I'm not a huge plastic fisherman guy, but I know that it's necessary. And in some of that water down there that's stained and muddy, it probably will come in handy. On the spinnerbait side, I don't really have too many spinnerbaits. I think I have like 3 in the box, and then I have 2 or 3 chatterbaits and a multitude of tails to throw on those to try different things. Whopper ploppers, I grabbed the Chapo because I wanted to try it. I've never caught a fish or decent fish on a Chapo yet. And I have the Whopper plopper 90, 75, and a 110. And I think the color range I cover is a white, black, and a bluegill. And I think that's pretty basic, and I think that's plenty. Poppers. I do have probably 6 or 7 poppers. I think those are crucial. And as far as frogs, I didn't bring like giant frogs, like Terminator frogs and big walking frogs and giant things like that. But I did bring the Ema frog. And you guys have seen me use those little Ema frogs before. Those things are just killer, and they have smaller hooks and easier penetration, so I'm not going to be required as much hook set with those frogs. So I did cover the frog range a little bit. I have a couple big ones, but not many. And then I have swim baits, Kitex. I have rage craws, so I have the crawfish thing covered. I have the Kitex covered, and then I have probably 10 square bills, 10 lipless, 10 jerk baits. I'm trying to think, what else do I have? I have a lot of crap in there. I didn't bring any of the weird baits. Like I didn't bring any of the Japanese like pompadours or any of the jackal baits that were kind of weird that I got from Japan, because I just want to focus on kind of bare bones fishing and keep it simple. So my hope is to go down there and find fish hitting topwater, because I will fish. Like if it comes down to this, if I can catch 5 fish topwater versus 7 fish or 9 fish with regular, rubber or plastic, I'm going to take the topwater fish any day of the week, because it's just so much more exciting. But if I'm not getting many topwater bites, of course I'm going to do what it takes. But, I'll see what happens. I'll see where they're at, if they're on beds or off the beds, or if they've spawned out, or what the deal is. But hopefully we're going to have a good trip. It's 55 at night, 70 in the day. It says sunny for 2 days, partly cloudy on the 3rd day, so we'll see what happens. But chime in and let me know what you think I might be forgetting. Of course, things like I'm going to take a scale, my camera gear, pair of pliers, all that stuff's in there too. But if you think of anything that I might be missing, just let me know, and I'm all ears, man. And I'll see you guys soon when we get to Georgia.